here comes perhaps someone who has been calling the bull market for some time now. Samir Arora, founder and fund manager, Helios Capital, is joining us this morning. Good morning, Samir. Good to have you with us. We have instructed our headline writers to watch and hear you very closely, so assure you that all your bullishness is going to be captured in our headlines. But really, how much better does this get from here? I mean, we still have a month to go for the budget, probably, or maybe 3-4 weeks. Do you think this market is reaching out to 8,000 in a hurry, even before the budget comes in?
The first thing is that this is what we call a bull market and not what we saw in Feb, March when I used to protest that we haven't seen anything yet. But you know, sometimes the pace of this rally, even though we are like, I think right now about 98% net invested, but the pace of the rally is a bit unnerving, and maybe we are doing everything in a compressed period of time, but that is normally what happens when you have a sort of a start of a multi-year kind of a cycle. But still, I would think that we shouldn't do everything so fast. Because right now, my assumption was that the budget, or is even till today, that the budget is going to be more of an incremental budget with good governance as the backdrop, rather than a big bang budget where people are asking for everything and maybe expecting everything to be done in the budget. So for example, we want tax rates to be reduced, corporate taxes, I guess many people say. On the other hand, we want ST to be reduced. On the third, we want FDI and insurance. We want 100% in defense. We want, basically labor law changes. We want everything together. And I'm not 100% sure that it is going to be that kind of a budget like the 91 kind where you will get every line will be some massive reform-oriented line. If that is the case, this market is justified. Otherwise, I think maybe we are overdoing it a little bit, but the momentum both locally and the foreign factors are also quite supportive, so we continue.
So should we understand from what you're saying that at some level, probably 8,000 too early in the year would make you either not buy at that level or even perhaps take profit?
Yes, because we also want to go back to our longer term 60-70% type of net. I think the way it is going, maybe this will happen in the next 1 or 2 months. Also, you see, it's a bit inconsistent what is happening right now. So if we think that the oil price hike will be done this month, or not oil price hike, but all the diesel price hike and everything else, I would think it's totally inconsistent with the fact that the first thing that we deliver to the public is a tough measure, and other things which are supposed to come from better infrastructure, better roads, jobs, obviously will take 1 year. So I would think that. Second, if you really believe that all this will happen, then what will happen to inflation? If you believe that PSUs will be improved, which basically means that corruption will be reduced, because I would think that is the biggest thing, then does it mean that Delhi real estate can be at the prices that it is, because it is 100% due to corruption and black money, that prices in real estate in some of these pockets are as high as they are. Also, if you look at the way the market is constructed or the market is followed, so we have analysts for every sector. Now, if some analysts see that the IFA guys are having a ball and people want to meet power analysts, then the consumer analyst wakes up and recommends his 40 PE company because he doesn't want to be left out of the whole bull run that is happening, and therefore you will see some 30 and 40 and 50 PE companies being recommended, because that analyst only covers such companies and he cannot afford to be left behind. So I think there will be many opportunities in the maybe after budget, unless the budget is a big bang kind of a budget where things will cool off, but some stocks I think will fall quite a bit, and let's hope we have them on our short book at that point of time. But today the story is that this is more or less the start. Okay, you can say some stocks, I feel some stocks have gone up too much on hype in every sector, but that is how India is. It is a volatile market, but currently supported quite significantly by global cues and the fact that domestics will crack up soon and start buying.
Samir, hi, good morning. Good to have you in on the show. The poet in you came alive in your tweet last night where you spoke about how despite retail investors knowing that the BJP would get a decisive mandate, they did not participate. I'm going to ask my producer to get it up. Oh, there it is. So how do you suggest the average retail investor does damage control, the one who hasn't participated yet?
By the way, many people thought that was about me, whereas I have been super leveraged into the rally and I could not have enjoyed it more. So, but because 140 words and characters had to be, I think that if they look at it as a damage, they will again be losers because they can't jump in with that speed. I think the best way is to gradually buy mutual funds and let them take the stress of finding out which stock to buy, because the issue is that when an individual wants to buy a stock, even if it comes with heavy recommendations, normally you would invest a small part, rightly so, on that stock. And even if it goes up 30-50%, you will feel happy that over X number of months you made that money. But the absolute amount of money allocated to that position would be correctly small. Therefore, it is better to do an asset allocation where you're allocating to a fund. And if in July the market is disappointed by the budget and it corrects, be happy and invest more. Because mostly what will happen, most probably what will happen is, even if the budget disappoints the market and the market falls a little bit, it still, I would think, would be a massive positive overall for the economy and relative to what happened in the last 2 years. And there will be massive delta. Now, it's possible on that day from a market expectation it disappoints, but from an economy point of view and overall going in the right direction, hopefully there's no question of it, hopefully, of disappointing on that front.
So
small corrections should be positive.
Yeah, for the next 1 month, I mean, we have less than a month to go, before the budget. How much of a pre-budget rally do you think we can eke out? And how much of it will come courtesy local cues? And how much do you think it could come courtesy the global, up move that we're seeing?
I would think that from here to budget, if it goes up another 3-4%, I think that will be more than enough.
Okay.
Which is not bad. Since it's already up, the market in June is up 4% or 5%.
No, last week was 5%, Samir. So 3% looks a little of a not the old Samir Arora at all.
Yeah, I agree, because that's what I'm saying. The point is there was a time for to be bullish, and we were bullish, and we are also still bullish. But to think that everything will happen before budget because some late Latif has landed in our market who wants to cover up, and therefore he will buy the most beaten up and think that he can recover. I don't think life is so easy. There will be a punishment for coming late and trying to buy the highest beta only because you want to catch up, which is what 20% of foreigners and 50% of Indians are doing. It cannot be like that.
But is it possible that high beta will still give much better than that 3-4% you're predicting for the market? Would oil and gas?
By definition, it would. By definition, it would. But if it doesn't work out, then they'll correct also 10-20% over time. What I'm saying is, today the bet has changed a little bit. Today the bet has become that we, for us that is first your call has to be, is it a big bang budget or an incremental budget? As of today, what do you think? I think it's a positive incremental budget that we are expecting. But the way people are talking, see, the thing is, I get very disappointed when suddenly every guy wants everything on day one. Obviously, they know that if they ask for everything, they will get half of it, let's say, or 30% of it. But the market guys who are coming late to the party think that because somebody wrote that oil prices should be increased or diesel prices should be increased, it's happening this month. Or if somebody asked that this happened, that STT be removed, therefore STT is getting removed. That's what I'm saying. People are obviously asking for everything, but everything is not going to come. But the way stock prices are moving, everything is getting discounted straight away. I am very bullish, as I told you, my net, which is on average 60-65%, is still 98% type. So please don't take me negatively. But the point is, just jumping in and look at the difference between tech and some infra. Tech stocks are down 5%, infra is up 60%. I think that also has to correct if you call it a good market or a healthy market.
Is the mid-cap, Samir, is the mid-cap rally done, you think, or should one still get into mid-cap stocks now?
Well, in a big picture, you may allocate some, but I can tell you hundreds of mid-caps which are trading at valuations which are way higher than they should ever have been or will ever need to be. Again, some stocks will do well, so the guy who has those 5 stocks will think he's a star. But at a macro level, the mid-cap rallies at some point has been also overdone, I would think. I would think the best, if somebody new wants to come in, doesn't have to be all his allocation, but it should be in the stocks which are underperformers in the current 6 months rather than underperformers in the last 4 years. So I would think that even tech is a good point in the next few days or even now.
So Samir, from here on, what do you think will make more money, ONGC or Infosys?
Infosys, you see, I used to be bullish on it when Mr. Modi came in, but I think that the cost of choosing a CEO has been too high. Just because you want to choose a new CEO doesn't mean that you have whatever 15 senior guys leave. So I am confused and I would say ONGC, if they deliver everything, it will go up. But if you already want to build in everything right now and then say become a global company, I don't think things happen like that. Because still it will not be allowed to make unreasonable profit. It may not be allowed to make unreasonable losses. But I am not thinking that PSUs will be allowed to make unreasonable gains. You know, I saw some present, I think you were only discussing, Anuj, last week on market cap to sales of these companies or sales to market cap. If you are not for ONGC but for the other oil refineries, if they are going to buy oil and then only refine it, it doesn't matter what their sale is because your value added is nothing compared to your cost of raw material. So to think that market cap to sales should be in a global where mostly the global companies also find their own oil. Plus, at times, they might be allowed to make unreasonable profit. In India, we know that these companies may be their losses may be covered, their interest costs may go down. But if oil were to fall a lot, they will still have to pass through more or less everything and still make the same amount of money. So it's a one-sided trade. And also, if you really free everything, then suddenly you'll find Reliance is in and SR is in. So beyond a point, it's good for the market. And as I said, I enjoy these things from my financial sector, which makes up for all the good things that you do. It gets reflected in my financial stocks. And therefore, I play everything through that only.
Okay, any nuggets in the mid-cap space that you have lately want to discuss?
No, because I once recommended a nugget which turned out to be a coal. So since then I haven't done. But we have bought a few nuggets, and the only reason we can call them nuggets are because they have gone up 40-50%. Otherwise, who knows? Because all of them are based on future hopes that things will turn. But as I said, in a macro sense, I think that every stock of every sector cannot go up thinking that something will happen in the budget. And that is why I'm a little uncomfortable, but still quite bullish compared to anybody else who today, decides to buy.
All right, Samir Arora, thanks as always for joining us and giving us your view. Yes, we won't ask you what your mid-cap nuggets are. We'll leave it for next time, perhaps. Thanks so much for that. So that's a bullish Samir Arora for you. But he says that perhaps at this juncture, you should be a bit cautious and retail should get into mutual funds. That's the way to be.